Everybody knows panic. Everybody has heard it, has seen it, and has felt it in their own ways. If it was because something was really life-threatening, like a fire, like the coronavirus, or just something like a date where you were scared to just not be the right person in this moment. And everybody knows panic does something really awful. It leads to irrationality, often people die, or there's war over toilet paper. And today I will explain to you why there is panic and how you might avoid panicking, which is really important in certain situations, as you may know. Hey ho, and let me welcome you to this video on FreakOfMind. My name is Mo, and I'm the first year psychology student who explains your life. Today's topic is panic, as you may have thought. Before we step in now, let's see, what was your last moment of panic? When do you remember panicking the last? Please write a comment, let me know, because I'm really interested in what you think actually is panic. Let me give you a few examples of what actually is panic. One example is a fire in a building. You see, there's a fire happening, one person sees it or just hears there's a fire happening, so he screams out, yells out, is in panic and runs away. The next people hear it and keep running as well. Till everybody basically heard that there's a fire and everybody runs and runs mindlessly after the first person who started running. And the first person might not even know where to go because he can't think clearly as well. So he might run into a dead end and people might follow. And when there's a big mass following, he might get crushed. So people die, not because of the fire, but because there was panic. The next example is better known to you, and it's the coronavirus right now. The coronavirus has quite some people panicking because it started with a virus and this virus spread around, obviously. News picked it up and they were reporting different things, but basically the news got worse and worse and worse because first a few people died, which is still bad, but it's okay compared to the world, but then it spread over countries and it spread further. And news reported that there are more countries and you hear that the virus gets bigger and it gets more deadly basically. And then countries shut down, so you have big things happening and you can't even do anything about it. This leads to panic, obviously. So people started buying supplies and for some reason they started buying toilet paper. For basically no good reason, because the toilet paper won't help. But people also started stealing like disinfection material. And this is something that is just irrational because you don't need this much. Probably nobody needs this much and it's gonna keep like a lifetime, but the hospitals need it. So people started doing irrational things because they were panicking out of a coronavirus that might or might not actually infect the person at all. Now there's a question of how actually does panic happen? Why do people panic? And as usual, psychology has a nice model for it. And the model is called protection motivation model. But this model does not really help here because it assumes the human is thinking clearly. And obviously it doesn't. The human does not think when he's panicking. So instead of reasoning about the threat that there might be and the possibility of actually being infected by the threat or the way to cope, the human just overreacts out of irrationality, like the fight, flight or hide mechanism there is. And there is something that the psychology can't just easily explain with this kind of model. So obviously panic comes from fear. The definition of panicking is that you have fear for just a very short moment or just out of like nowhere, and this usually happens for many people at the same time. This is panic. But fear starts happening because of information. Either you have not enough information, like in a fire. When you're in a building and there's a fire happening, most likely nobody really saw the fire. Somebody yelled there's a fire and everybody starts running, but normally nobody really saw the fire because it's just a small fire in one building and people started running away. So there's not enough information. Instead of hearing how big the fire is or where the fire is, you just hear that there is a fire and that people are scared of it. That's the only information, so not enough. Or you have too much information. Like in the coronavirus, that you have news everywhere. Like if you don't know that there's a virus and what it does, it's because you didn't listen to any news. Because everybody's talking about coronavirus right now. And they all talk different things. Usually there's much information that you even can't handle and often it's contradicting, so you don't know what to think, and this leads to uncertainty. And uncertainty leads to the loss of control. If you have the feeling you lose control of a situation, that's when you start panicking. So basically information is really key to stop panicking. First off, let's go to the behaviors that everybody does. So the one thing that humans do generally is think in heuristics. They don't think logical, they think about rule of thumb. So a rule that normally is right, but not always. And in this case, like in the case of panic, you do it much more than in general, and you do it much more extreme than in general. And normally this is not always right, because when everybody does this, often it just leads to confusion. Like, go with the default heuristic. Some person panicked and just runs straight away and the other people follow, thinking that this person might know what to do, but this person might just not know what to do. So everybody runs into a dead end because they thought the others know what to do. And this also goes for buying stocks or toilet paper or disinfection material, because everybody thinks, oh, the others do it well, this must be right, so I gotta do it as well. That's pretty simple, but not right. Also, there's a shift of focus. When you panic, you can't really focus on other things other than the fear or the threatening part. So instead of thinking straight or doing logical things, you can't really focus on other things. And this is where people get stamped on a fire, because they fall and other people don't notice because they're scared of the fire. They don't realize that there's a person beneath. This is how many people die, or because they get crushed because people from the back keep pushing and pushing and pushing. So the people in the front don't know how to react properly. Also, buying stocks. Buying stocks is a behavior that goes by the go with the default heuristic, but also it has a really nice effect on human. It calms. Buying stocks calms people because it prepares you basically for everything there might be. And to be prepared calms your mind, because you can just, well, assume that you're going to be fine anyhow. So buying a lot of food, buying a lot of disinfection, buying a lot of toilet paper calms your mind because you get prepared for other situations. So let's get to the topic which is most important: how to avoid panic. And well, the first thing is really important, and it's to prepare. You have to prepare in case of panic. The first thing you can do is to think back at the last time you did panic and think about how your body felt. How was your heartbeat? Did you sweat? Did your arms shake? Did you breathe heavy? There are many symptoms that might happen when you panic. And you can remember those. You can think about those, and whenever they happen again, you can realize, oh, I'm panicking. And this is the first thing to do, because when you know you're panicking, you can start doing something against it. And the other way to prepare would be to think about the situation you're in. In case of a pandemic, well, countries already have recommendations of what to do anyhow, whether or not there's some or whether or not there's nothing. So, for example, in Germany, you're supposed to stock up anyhow. You're supposed to have a little bit of stocks in your house, regardless of whether or not there's a pandemic or not. So you would be prepared when there is one. So you wouldn't get scared because you know you can't really get infected because you have the stocks already, where you can get infected, but you're not impacted by the economy. And further goes that you can prepare for a fire in a building, because when you know the exits, you are safe, because you can just go to those exits, but you gotta know them beforehand in certain situations, because people started panicking and don't know where to run, so they just run the straight line. But if you know the exit, you might just go to the exit, because, well, obviously it helps you, it leads to the best success. But you need to prepare in certain situations. And the moment you start panicking is not something you can just prevent generally, but the moment you start panicking, which might just happen, you have to start breathing deeply. Breathing deeply helps to calm your hormones. And those hormones are basically the reason that you can't think straight. So the moment you breathe in and breathe out and calm your mind, take your time, count to 10, counting sheeps maybe. Do whatever there is that you think calms your mind. It helps because it gets your hormones balanced again, and then you can think clearly. It takes a little bit of time, but in 99% of the times that you are in panic, you have enough time to do this. And also you have enough time to then gather the right information. If you gather the right information, as stated earlier, information is key to panic. Well, if you have the right information, you can prevent panic all along. If you get the information there is about a fire in a building, how big is the fire, how far is it away? How fast is it spreading? Like how easy can you get impacted by this fire in just the next few seconds? If you know this, you're most likely not going to panic, because when there's a fire 50 meters away, you might just start walking away, or just wait till everybody has passed you so you're not in a crowd, and then walk to the next exit or to the over next, because the first one might be crowded. You just have to know how dangerous a situation is, so you have to gather those information. Or in case of Corona, there is too much information, so you just have to listen to the right ones. There are certain websites, certain organizations like the World Health Organization, that give you the right guidance in case of an emergency. They tell you what to do, and they tell it in a really clearly and scientific manner. So they are the people you might just listen to, because they don't spread panic, they just give the best advice you could do, because also medics and nurses act on their advice. So they actually have a big responsibility and most likely will not tell you stupid things, like possibly certain medias will do. When you have the right information, you can think clearly and you can reason clearly. And when you have the time, which I said you have, you can reason about what you should do. And just take your time. Time is also a thing that people in panic don't seem to have, or feel like they don't have. You have the time. Believe me, just take it, breathe in, you have the time. And now you have time to like this video, to comment this video, or to give it a dislike. If you choose to give it a dislike, please let me know why you think it's not worth anything better. And if you think this video is awesome, just tell me as well, because I can get better on everything you write, and tell me how much I might help you in this panicking phase. Now, I really hope that you guys stay healthy. I know Corona is there and I'm staying at home, as you might just see. So please bear with me, stay healthy and stay happy, because happiness is also really important in this time. Because if you're staying home all day, you might not be too happy about it, but you can be, because it's still an awesome world we're living in. And look at the weather, you can take a walk and do something awesome for yourself. I also hope that, well, I can get my hair cut soon, so I don't have to wear a cap every day. Maybe you feel the same, but as said, stay awesome, stay healthy, and see you on the next video. Bye!